Alright, welcome back to another Avid tutorial. How exciting! Alright guys, so this lesson I'm going to talk about the Workslate, bars and tone, black video, the Academy leader, and timecode. Now this is mostly pertaining to narrative, and this is industry standard setup that you need in order to work with outside departments such as sound design and just production houses. So some of these things may change like as you go out in the industry, and you might find that some people's work slate is different, or some people still maybe they don't use the Academy or the bars and tone, but for the most part, this is still industry standard, and it will be a requirement for second-year MOPA at Capilano. Also to note, this is a redo of a tutorial I've done before, so yeah, doing it again. Alright, having said that though, let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, let's start with what we have here. This is our setup. We have a work slate. You'll also notice that we have a time code underneath it. You'll see that we have 5 seconds of black video, which is this region here. We also have the SMPTE bars and a 1K tone underneath it. And next to that, we have a universal counting leader with a 2 pop. This is that, you'll see the waveform here that gives us a, let me just play it, a pop. And that is exactly 2 seconds before our movie begins at the 1 hour mark. So we also have to change the start time to match everything. Okay, so what is the deal? First off, the first thing you should do is create a work slate. So you might want to pause the video and take a good look at what this work slate is. And you can put this in your titles and leaders bin as according to what we've done in earlier tutorials. Now, a work slate typically has your production name, what the name of the show is, who the director is, who's editing this exact timeline, what is your audio setup. Are you in stereo? Are you in mono? Are you in 5.1? Next, we have our aspect ratio. Typically it's 16:9, but who knows, you might be working at a different ratio later on. Also, you talk a little bit about what your settings are. 1080p, 23.98 frames per second. Change that if you're working in something different. Then the date. This is very important. Date and runtime. So you put the date that you created this sequence and the runtime, how long it should be, because when you give this out to other places, they're going to want to know that, oh, okay, this is today's date. And if you've got more than that, if you're exporting, you might want to put version 1 or version 2, depending on how many times you export it that day. So I'll just bring over my bin. Now, I've already made the work slate. So once you've made it, you can easily go into it by holding down Control, or is it Alt? Holding down Alt and then clicking on this little T icon. It'll ask you, do you want to promote this to marquee? And you just say no, keep it a title tool. And then I can go back in there and I can make changes as I need to. But I don't need to right now, so we're fine. Okay, so again, how to do this. So step 1, I've already made this, so I'll just kind of show you again. You go to Tools and look for Title Tool Application. I believe on the new Avid it's somewhere in the middle, but you're looking for the word Title Tool Application under Tools. So I think it's like up here on the new version of Avid. Then you get the title tool up, and it'll ask you to persist. Do you want Marquee, Title Tool, or Titler Pro? I would never use Marquee, and Titler Pro is kind of new. I find After Effects to be a much stronger motion graphics piece if I'm going to teach you something. For today, something simple is just the title tool is all we need. Now, title tool is pretty simple to use. First thing, we want it to not be on a video background. That's why if I turn on video, it's making it transparent so I can see the video underneath the blue position indicator, which is why you see this. So I'll turn that off, and that means it's going to have this black background, and I can make it like red if I wanted to, but for a simple work slate, I always want to keep it black. And then all you need to do is make sure your text tool is enabled and start typing stuff out. So take the 5 seconds here, pause the video, and type out this information. Okay, I'll just count down 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to assume that you've typed out all that information. So just to quickly go through this, this is your selection tool. If I write a box, that's my bounding box. See, bounding box around it. I can move this around. Video placement tool, I'm not going to cover that right now. This allows us to make a box. This allows us to round the corners. Don't need that. Circle, maybe we're doing lower thirds and making some kind of design. We can change the color of it here. Again, moving it around with our selection tool. Maybe you need to make a line, or on that line, maybe you need to make some arrows. Press OK. I don't know why it didn't work there. There we go. Okay, cool. And so this lets you do arrows and all sorts of kind of stuff. Don't really need to do any of that, and I've never actually used this stuff. So this is your fonts. If you want to change it, always keep your Workslate in a very nice legible font. You can get fired if you don't. Also, this is your size of your text. So say, for example, maybe I wanted to make this a smaller text. I could choose this, or I can type in something that I think is better. The bounding box, the size of the box matters because it allows us to either center justify or right justify or left justify. Also, we have kerning, which is the space between the letters, and if we had more than one, then the leading is the space between the lines. I don't know why it's all, something's going on with my keyboard here. Okay, but needless, I'm not going to get into it, but the space leading is the space between the sentences kind of deal. Weird. Anyway, fill is again the color of your letters. Shadow is if you have a shadow, this is the shadow. You can have a drop shadow, it's representing my shadow. I can make that shadow colored. So I've got to do this second. I'll put, there we go. Needed to update. Border, I don't have a border, but you could have a border around your stuff. Alright, so this allows you to italicize. This is bold. This allows you to have a depth shadow. Alright? More importantly, this allows you to roll your credits. So I'm going to put on the video background. So if I wanted to roll this from the bottom to the top, this allows us to roll. So if I put it here, save it, it creates this title up here. And so I put the title here. Now check a look, it allows, what is going on? Oh, I took the Workslate, darn it. Here we go. This one allows us to roll. So that's what the rolling deal is. Alright. So that's just a quick little overview of the title sequence. I usually go through that in class anyway. I'm just going to get rid of it. But in any case, you should have made your Workslate. Alright. Okay, so what else? Here's a little tip that we're going to need a lot. If you highlight a clip, so I click on this clip, I press the T key on my keyboard, it makes an in and an out around that clip. So it kind of like selects that clip depending on what tracks you've got highlighted. So there's nothing else there, so it knows Avid that I want to highlight this clip. I press Z and I've gotten rid of it, or X, now I've closed that gap. So yeah, remember the T key. It becomes very, very, very useful. Alright, what else can I tell you? Okay, so I'm just going to get on my trim. Deleted too much stuff here. Okay, so let's start from the very, very beginning. You've made your work slate. All right, this is going to be a whole thing. I'm going to get right into this. Let's make a sequence. Zombie cows bin. All right, so I'll call this for tutorial. Okay, so first thing I do is we've made up a work slate. Now what you do is you make your endpoint, and then you jump to roughly 501, okay? And hopefully there's nothing on your sequence. If there is, put this at the beginning of what you've edited already, and then press either V to input so you don't delete anything, or B to overwrite what's there already. So I'll put there. All right. So now we want to check our work. We want to make sure that this work slate is exactly 5 seconds. So first thing we do, highlight the clip, press T. Now I look up there and it's exactly 5 seconds and 1 frame. So I made a mistake. Sometimes the Avid will count your first frame as 1, so like 0 becomes 1, but I guess they fixed that. All right, so I know that right now this up here will tell me the reading of what I've got highlighted, of what I've got on my in and my out. So what I want to do is trim off that 1 frame. So what I can do, just go to the end, I press I press O for that 1 frame, and then I press X just to get rid of it. There. So let's highlight that clip again, press T, there. I know for sure it's 5 seconds long. So now I have 5 seconds of work slate, which is great. That's what I wanted to do. So now I have to have my, what else do we got to get? Bars and tone. All right, bars and tone. So SMPTE bars. Where can we find this? Well, heck, it's kind of confusing, kind of not really. For you guys, it might be a little bit different. I'm working at home on a PC, but you can go to Import, and I believe on the Mac it's like Applications, then you go to Supporting Files, then you go to Test Patterns, and you will find, inside of Test Patterns, you will find SMPTE bars. So for me, on a PC, it's similar. You go to your Program Files, Avid, on Applications, you go to Avid, then you'll see Avid Media Composer, and you look for Supporting Files. And this should still be in Applications. Then you look for Test Patterns. Then there's all these test patterns. So I look for SMPTE bars. So then I can import that at DNxHD115. All right, so there's SMPTE bars. You've imported it. And what you want to do is, again, get 5 seconds. I already have it out here. So make your endpoint. And on some, you should just be able to press your plus button and go 423. Mine's deactivated. You can do it on this one for some reason, and it'll move your cursor. I'll get more to that in a second. Anyway, make 5 seconds of your in and your out point for SMPTE bars. Once that's done, let's go down to our timeline again. And in order to get rid of these marks, I press the G button. Gets rid of that in and out point. I make a new endpoint where my blue position indicator is, 3, 2, 1, I, for an endpoint. And now I want to put this down here, so I press B. There. And now let's highlight it and make sure that we've got the correct amount. So I press T. It makes an endpoint and an out point, and that tells me it's exactly 5 seconds again. Perfect. So now I have my bars, but I need to make a tone. That's that 1K tone that goes beep. All right, so I already have one made, but I'm going to show you how to make it in Avid. What you have to do is you have to use this audio tool. So go to Tools, Audio Tool. And that'll bring up this audio tool function. What you want to do is press this PH or peak hold menu and come down to Create Tone Media. We are going to generate a 1K tone. So tone media frequency in hertz, 1K. It's going to be 60 seconds long. It's going to be -20. Let's make that, okay, yeah, I'll make it -20. So it won't be very loud, but it'll be there. So press OK, and then you have tone. So here's our tone. Let's just play it. Cover your ears or turn down the volume. 3, 2, 1. Cool. So what we got to do, again, make 5 seconds of that. In point. Well, that's not annoying at all. There. In point, out point. Now I want to put this under the bars and tone on the audio. So what I do is I uncheck the video. Uncheck there. And I'll clear my points. Press G. I hold down Alt and, oops, not Alt. I hold down Command and I snap to the beginning of this cut and I press B. So now I have my bars and my tone. And again, it's exactly 5 seconds. So now we've created our Workslate, we've created bars and tone, and I'm also I want to have a placeholder for black video. Black video is kind of a way for colorists or old school colorists to calibrate their monitors. So it's an exercise that I think is repeated later on for you guys, so it's a good habit to make black video. So how do we do that? Well, in here on our source viewer, click on this pull down menu here and look to load filler. So it's just black video is all it is. And again, in point and out point for 5 seconds. Now, this one's kind of frustrating because Avid sees this region of unused timeline as black video. So watch this. If I make my in point there and I press B, nothing happens. So we are going to create a placeholder, and after we put something after the black video, once we put the academic leader there, we'll erase that space, so to speak. So what am I saying is that right now it sees this as black video, but I can't do anything about it. So we need to make a placeholder. So again, I go to my SMPTE bars, 5 seconds there, and I'll just drop it here. This is just a placeholder because next I'm going to put my leader here and then delete that, and that'll be 5 seconds of video. All right, cool. So after this placeholder, I want my universal counting leader. Now guys, universal counting leaders are available all over YouTube, but you might want to either ask me for your direct one, where I'll provide this for you, or you have to be precise on it. So I'll demonstrate what I mean. Here's our universal counting leader. It's exactly 11 seconds long. So hit the home key, hit the I key, hit the N key, hit the O key. That means I make an in point at the beginning, I make an out point at the end, and I have my circle indicating it's the frame, it's the end of the clip's frame. So I take this and I press escape to go to the timeline. I press G to get rid of my in points and out points, which are clear. I press my end key to make sure I'm at the end of this timeline. I press my I key to tell it I want to insert media there, and I press my B key to put down the universal counting leader. I highlight the leader and press my T key to make sure that it's still 11 seconds. Okay, so why is this so important? Why is the length so important? Okay, here's the rule. It has a 2-pop. This is called a 2-pop. And it's crucial so that you can line up your audio later on. So when you send your stuff out to a composer, when you send your stuff off to sound design, Foley, mixing, all that sort of stuff, they're going to do all the sound work and compress it all into one file to give to you. And in order for you to line it up, you need this 2-pop. So that's why it's like, what if a frame gets lost in the transfer? What if it's off by a little bit? The 2-pop is the universal accepted way for us to sync up the sound files to our edit again. But in order for this 2-pop, we need to have it be exactly 2 seconds away from the beginning. So if you download a YouTube clip and you don't check, you have to make sure manually that this pop where you see the spike, you hear the beep, press your in point, and then go to the very end of it, press your out point, and it should be exactly 2 seconds before the first frame of your movie. So that's why getting the right universal counting leader is important. Alright, so now that we've done that, alright, we're laughing. We're in pretty good shape. But so now we've covered how to do the Workslate, bars and tone. Oh yeah, the black video, now we can get rid of it. So let's go over to where that SMPTE placeholder is and highlight the clip. Press T to make your in point and out point surrounding it. Press Z to get rid of it. And press G to clear the marks. Now you have 5 seconds of black video. So again, we have Workslate, 5 seconds of bars and tone, 5 seconds of black video, and 11 seconds of universal counting leader. Alright, so now the other rule. There are a whole bunch of rules for this, by the way. So the movie should always begin at the 1 hour mark. That means that all this stuff before should be like 0059 something something, and the movie starts at 1 hour, like the stuff that you want to show the audience. We don't want to show the audience this counting leader or bars and tone or the Workslate. That's not for the viewing audience. That's for filmmakers. That's for people working on the movie. So we need to change this start time so that it can have the movie start at 1 hour. So you can't, it's traditionally you weren't able to change the start time here. I don't know if the new version of Avid lets you, but traditionally what you have to do, and I still think it is for the new version, you have to click over here in the record monitor and go to sequence report. Under sequence report, look for starting TC as in timecode. Now, under starting timecode, put 005934. I could be wrong. I might be wrong. Let's check this out for a second. Apply changes and cancel. So now, if this is right, 005934. When I press end, it should jump to the 1 hour mark. Woohoo! There we go. 1 hour mark. So why was I having problems there? You have to do the math. So think about it. The universal counting leader is 11 seconds, right? The time code is, the black video is 5 seconds. So that's 11 plus 5 is 16 plus 5 is 21 plus 5 is 26. So you need 26 seconds minus 1 hour will give you 59, 34 seconds and 00 frames. Yeah, I know. Welcome to editing, guys. It's not fun. So this means that now at the 1 hour mark, my movie starts. And this is the universal industry standard rule. This is so that when the color correction guy, he knows that the movie starts at 1 hour mark. It's not important just to have your time code. The actual movie has to have it. Okay, so can't stress this enough. This is big for narrative filmmaking. Okay, so now that we've got that, oh, and just so you know that you're sure, if you go to the 1 hour mark and press the arrow button on your keyboard 1 frame back, you'll see the cigarette burn in the upper right hand corner at the 00595923 frames mark. So that's how you know you're on at a glance. Alright, cool. So the last thing we got to do now is make up our time code. So next step, right click, go to new video track. I'll put my monitor viewer up to the top level. Now what I do is I'll move my audio tool out of here. I go to my effects, I go to generator, timecode burn-in, and all I do is I just drag it and drop it over the entire thing. So let's say I want to change it, make it a little bit bigger. I go to effects mode. And now I can get the appearance so that it's bigger. Maybe you have subtitles here, so I'll put this up in the top hand corner. Typically we'll leave it down there though. So that lets us move it. And there's all sorts of other stuff here. The opacity, color. We're not going to mess around with that. I just want you to know about size more than anything. But now this will cover everything and reflect what's going on over here. So let's see what's happened there. I'm off of the timecode there. Yeah, okay. So that should be it. You should have everything set. And it should look exactly like this. You have your Workslate again. You have your SMPTE bars and tone. 5 seconds of black. Universal counting leader. As well as timecode. And make sure that you use your T key to make sure that everything is the right amount. Alright guys, I hope this has helped you out. With that, I am going to end recording.